United States, KG was just a pouty little baby.
That's how he works. That's how the good Lord he works. That's how he works. That's how the good Lord he works. That's how the Lord works. That's how the Lord works. That's how the Lord works. That's how he works. That's how the Lord works. That's how the Lord works. That's how the Lord works. That's how he works. We must not question the Lord. Have faith in God and trust His word. We don't know how, we don't know when to see this day, so we should
Hey, welcome, y'all, to another episode of Church Sundays. I know y'all probably like, where have you been the past month? Look, I didn't really know creatively where to go with this, so I just needed a break. So I took about a 4 or 5 week break. To be fair, half of that time was technical difficulties with my whole stream setup, which if you've been watching the Christian game room streams, you already know audio's been crazy, but we finally have it actually figured out, because I went back, listened to everything sounds so good now. But with that said, it's Sunday. I hope you guys have had a blessed Sunday so far. If you've had church service or you still have yet to go, I hope you have a wonderful church service, of course. With that said, I don't expect many people to be in here because it is Sunday, right? I don't normally live stream on this day. I also don't I don't expect anybody being here because you guys should be with your families today, essentially. I don't expect anybody to be up in here. So whoever decides to pop through, cool, you know. I just wanted to get this off instead of like actually recording a video and putting it up for you. But you guys see the title. So today we're going to be reading John 11, 1 through 45. Jorge gave me the recommendation. He said Lent is still going on. So for full transparency, for all the new people that have been subscribing over the past week or so, I am not Catholic. However, I do have Catholic subscribers. Some of them are doing Lent, which is practicing Lent. I don't even know what the term for it is, but he said it's the 5th Sunday. And he told me to look at the reading they're going to be doing. Now, I've actually read this already on my own. John is one of the first Gospels I actually read when I became Christian. So we're going to actually go over this together. We're just going to read it together, reflect on it together. And that's really going to be the end of stream. I'm not going to be playing no games today. None of that. This is the Lord's Day, right? Unless you practice the Sabbath, then that is the Lord's Day. I do both, right? I'm like Ned Flanders. That one episode where Ned was the only house to get messed up in The Simpsons, and he started praying to God. He's like, God, I be doing this, I be doing that, I even eat kosher. This will be a little bit safe. I'm like, Ned, we gonna play it safe over here. I'm making it happen. All jokes aside, we're gonna be reading John 11, 1 to 45. And even though if you've been here long enough, you know I read the King James Version, but today I'm going to be reading to you guys out the NASB, the 95 version, just because it's easier to read. Now that I'm talking to a group, whoever's going to end up watching this on their own, it's just easier for you guys to follow along with versus the King James Version. So let's go ahead and begin. As you guys can see, this is about the death and resurrection of Lazarus, and I will start reading it now. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. It was the Mary who anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. So the sisters sent word to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. But when Jesus heard this, he said, This sickness is not to end in death, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified by it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he then stayed 2 days longer in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, the Jews were just now seeking to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of this world. But if anyone walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. This he said, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I go so that I may awaken him out of sleep. The disciples then said to him, Lord, if he has fallen asleep, will he recover? Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought that he was speaking of literal sleep. So Jesus then said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. Therefore Thomas, who is called, I messed this name up a lot, Didymus, we gonna say Didymus, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, so that we may die with him. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. Martha, therefore, when she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him, but Mary stayed at the house. Martha then said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even if he dies. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I have believed that you are the Christ, the Son of God, even he who comes into the world. When she had said this, she went away and called Mary her sister, saying secretly, The teacher is here and is calling for you. And when she heard it, she got up quickly and was coming to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and consoling her, when they saw that Mary got up quickly and went out, they followed her, supposing that she was going to the tomb to weep there. Therefore, when Mary came where Jesus was, she saw him and fell at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and was troubled, and said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. So the Jews were saying, See how he loved him? But some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man also from dying? We're going to get into it. Let me finish first. So Jesus, again, being deeply moved within, came to the tomb. Now it was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, Remove the stone. Martha, the sister of the deceased, said to him, Lord, by this time there will be a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not say to you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? So they removed the stone. Then Jesus raised his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but because of the people standing around, I said it, so that they may believe that you sent me. When he had said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. The man who had died came forth, bound hand and foot with wrappings, and his face was wrapped around with a cloth. Jesus said to them, unbind him and let him go. Therefore, many of the Jews who came to Mary and saw what he had done believed in him. Now, let's get into the chapter. Let's go through it. Jesus was friends with Lazarus. So, when they sent word that he was dying, they all knew, and I'm gonna break this down super simple. They all knew, like, oh, his homeboy Jesus about to come through. He gonna cure him. He'd be cool. He's never gonna die. What they didn't know, Jesus needed him to die. He needed time for him to go by so they won't be like, oh, he was just sleeping, he was playing. No, these people needed to know that this man was dead for a couple of days so that they would fully believe in him when he resurrected him at the end, right? That's the whole reason when it said Jesus got word and he stayed where he was at for 2 days before traveling on. That's why he did that. They needed to see with their own eyes, because during this time period, it seemed like every time Jesus did miracles, you would have the people who would see it that would be like, yo, that's the guy right there. And you would also have people that would just be like, nah, that ain't really him. He not the one. Jesus was the one, right? We know that now because we're the ones reading the story. But at that time period, it was still a divide. You had the people that believed and you still had people that didn't. So he was doing all these miracles, and every time he would do stuff in front of people's faces, they'd be like, oh, that's what's up. That's Jesus. That's God right there. So when we get down to here and he comes into the village and he's talking to Martha and Mary, and he's just like, where's the passage at? Let me find the passage first. Here it is. Because he said the same thing to the sister too. He's like, did I not say to you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God, right? When they got to the stone. Back in the day when people died, in this time period, they would put them in like a cave and they would put like a little stone in front of it. That was kind of like they little gravestones back then. In simplest terms, right? Before deep diving into all the history of it. So the fact that they wrapped this man up, put him in this cave, closed it up for 4 days, he was gone. There was no way he was coming back. And Jesus is telling them, he was like, hey, if you truly believe in me, right, you will be reborn. And that's when we get down here. So I actually want to find the actual passage because it's up here somewhere. Here it is. When Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even if he dies, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? As Christians, what is the one thing we say when you come over into Christianity and you believe in Jesus, you believe he died for your sins on the cross, he was resurrected, all of that. If you believe in him and you become Christian, you're supposed to become washed anew. You become a brand new person, right? We read that in the Bible. That's all this is. That's what he's telling them, like, hey, if you believe in me, you never gonna die. You gonna live forever. Because if you read Revelations, basically in there, it talks about like it talks about New Jerusalem being built, stuff like that, and us making it to it. I'm breaking everything down super simple. And this is all this is about. This is about believing in Jesus, and if you believe in him, he will bring you back. He will resurrect you, and you're gonna be with him forever. That's all. This is a good passage to do that. But he did this in front of all these people to glorify his name, to prove to them, like, yeah, I am that guy. That's all he was really doing. But this is one of the first things, like I said, John was one of the first gospels I read when I became Christian. And I gave my life over to Christ back in August of last year, like mid-August. So just wanted to share that with you guys. There is a better breakdown. If you guys don't like my super simplified breakdown, I actually have one I have another one I can read for you guys. Oh, maybe I got rid of it. Because I actually don't see it on my phone now. Well. I tried. You know what I'm saying? I tried. I thought it was still in my tabs. It's not. Unless I saved it on this one. Nope. All right. Actually, I'll Google it real quick. Because this is the 5th Sunday. This is the 5th Sunday of Lent reading for 2023. Because this is what they read in the Catholic Church today. Or maybe not. This site says something different. This site says they read Ezekiel. But another site I was on said they read this passage for Lent. All right. That's interesting. Yeah, this one right down here. This one says they read John 11. All right, Catholics. I thought y'all all did the same thing. I thought all y'all did the same thing. Oh, it looks like there's multiple readings for the 5th Sunday of Lent. Okay, that I did not know, but like I said, I clarified at the beginning of the stream, I'm not Catholic. This was a recommendation from one of my Catholic subscribers. Interesting. So as you see here, I guess the first reading of the day is Ezekiel 37, 12 to 14. So it says, the prophet Ezekiel is given a vision of a valley filled with dry bones, which represent the people of Israel who are dead in their exile. The Lord promises to put his spirit within them and restore them to life, bringing them back to their own land. Jasmine, what's going on? Welcome. I was actually about to get off in a minute. Apparently, I messed up the reading for the 5th Sunday of Lent. I only did John. I didn't know these other ones were supposed to be read as well. But I'm not Catholic, so I wouldn't know that. It says the responsorial psalm is Psalm 130. It says this is a psalm of supplication and trust in the Lord's mercy and redemption. The psalmist cries out to the Lord from the depths and acknowledges that with the Lord there is forgiveness and plenteous redemption, and encourages Israel to wait for the Lord and trust in his word. Then there's a second reading, which is Romans 8, 8 to 11. Paul teaches that those who live according to the flesh cannot please God, but those who live according to the Spirit have the Spirit of Christ within them and will have life. He declares that the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells within believers and gives life to their mortal bodies. And then you have the Gospel of John, which is what I just read, John 11, 1 to 45, which is Jesus receives news that his friend Lazarus is seriously ill, but waits to visit him until after he has died. When Jesus arrives, he raises Lazarus from the dead, demonstrating his power over death and prompting many to believe in him. For all my Catholics out there, don't be too mad at me for only reading one of these. I didn't know I was supposed to read 4. Like I said, I don't go to Catholic church. Yeah, Jasmine, like, I wouldn't have known either. We on the same page. We are on the same page. That's what happens. I'm non-denominational. I would have never known that. Because there was a site I pulled up. It's so weird it's not on Google now. But a site I pulled up only said that this was being read. So that's why I did the live stream just for this. And to be fair, I haven't read these in the Bible yet. So I wouldn't have been a good breakdown interpretation for that anyways. So things kind of worked out. All right, for those that don't know, Easter is, we're like 2 weeks away from Easter. So even though I'm not Catholic, I said this in another live stream, I did find a Catholic church that I will be going to the Easter vigil for, just to experience it, because everybody said that's like a pretty big deal and it's very long. I think Jorge called it like midnight mass or something. But there's one like literally not even 5 minutes from my house. I swear I didn't even know a Catholic church was that close to me. Didn't even know I was that close to one. But I used Kyle's method. I found the prettiest church and it was that close. So I'm going to go check that out. It says it starts at 8:45 p.m. and it's the Saturday before Easter. So that's the 8th, I believe that's the 8th. So I'm going to be doing that, checking it out. I'm going to give you guys my experience on the live stream that following Monday. And yeah, so I hope for those that have never read John, I hope you took something from what we read today. I hope you read John on your own if you've never read it before. It's actually a good gospel. It breaks down everything. Like, that's basically the gospel of Jesus, essentially, from the eyes of like his disciple John. So if I was y'all, I highly recommend reading it. I would get into it. But I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So thank you to everybody that showed up. And for those that see this after the fact, I know it's Sunday. Y'all done went to church. Y'all with your family. It's y'all family time. I'm going to go back and be with mine too. I just wanted to do this real quick because I didn't shoot a video. And like I said, I haven't done church Sundays in like 4 or 5 weeks now. I wanted to do something, you know. Yes, Jasmine, take care to you as well. God bless. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. EST for the Conservative Christian Show with me. So, till then, have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.